in a day. Maybe we used to eat twice a day before, we used to eat thrice a day before, but now we have people now going with the 001 or 010. I mean, a lot of people have to tighten their belts at this time, and it comes with a lot of inconveniences. You're listening to Mainland 98.3 FM, and you're welcome to Trends in the Papers, where we will be looking through the major headline on the front page of our dailies. It promises to be an interesting run. We'll look through the stories that we have, the reports that we have on these stories, on these papers, on the front page of the papers. We'll do this up until 8:30, and by 8:40 we come back for Mainland Focus, where you, our dear listener, you get to be a part of the conversation. You share your own thoughts and analysis as regards to the stories that we're going to be looking through this morning. So all you have to do is stay with us. It promises to be an interesting run. We'll be live. We are actually live on Facebook and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. So you can join the conversation on those platforms as well and drop your comments in the live chat section. Would also appreciate the support by you liking, sharing, and subscribing to all of our social media handles at Mainland 98.3 FM. And on X at Mainland FM. Thank you for staying with us. My name is Omobola Sandra. I will not be doing this alone. Fuad Sahid will be joining in via the phone line to give analysis to the stories that we'll be looking through this morning. I have my papers here. I have the Punch, the Guardian, and Vanguard newspaper in no particular order. And of course, the hot story at this time is still on fuel supply. 9,000 marketers may lose licenses. And we have riders to that. Ipman begs NMDPRA, NNPC not to delist operators from sales portal to avert fuel crisis. Queues persist as more filling stations open for sale and pump price drops marginally. So let's have the conversation. That is the major headline on the front page of the Punch. But before then, good morning. For how is the fuel situation or the transport situation?
It's not over yet, but very unfortunately, I think there was just a report
trying to hustle for
some of these needless, avoidable situations Nigerians are put through, basically as a result of incompetence, nothing more, really. But that's the story of Nigeria at this time. Nigerians have a way of, weathering the storm. Nigerians have a way of struggling through and keeping it alive. Personal hopes will not be we're talking about. Maybe just keep renewing their personal hopes on a daily basis, using their own resources, their own God-given talents, and the resilience God has given to us. That resilience has made us the happiest people in the world, despite all challenges. So that's the thing that we wait to see. The reports are still saying that we have to deal with this for some few more days. The Ipman has been said of that 2 weeks.
Yes, 2 weeks, exactly.
So I think before we get to normal, we may have to still look like another 1 week or a week plus before things return to normal.
Thank you very much, Fuad. Well, according to report, as Nigerians battle fuel scarcity, over 9,000 oil marketers are currently on the verge of losing their operating licenses, and as a result, IPMAN, that Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, is urging NNPCL to extend its final deadline for licensing renewal to July, and also appealing to NMDPRA, that's Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Regulatory Authority, to release 9,000 already processed licenses to its members. Let's not forget that on Sunday, sometime on Sunday, IPMAN put out a statement lamenting the low pace of marketers' license renewal as to renew their licenses or risk closure to access their customer express portals for the purchase of petroleum products from NNPC retail. So what we have now, IPMAN is a scarcity of petroleum products. So very quickly, I'll just take a quote from the statement. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria are abreast with current developments in the downstream sector of our petroleum industry and wish to state that the latest information reaching us from the NMDPRA states that they have already processed more than 9,000 out of the 15,000 licenses they are expected to process for our members within this period. So marketers are fast-tracking the processing of their licenses to avoid the impending closure of their customer express portals. So we therefore use this opportunity to appeal to the management of NMDPRA and NNPCL to respectively release the processed licenses and extend the deadline for delisting of marketers from their express portals. If the request is granted, it will ease the tension of panic buying by members of the public in order not to aggravate the present scarcity of petroleum products. So what we have now is IPMAN requesting for an extension so their marketers can have more time to get their license, and then also calling on the attention of NMDPRA to quicken or hasten or fast track the process of license renewal. What do you think, especially in this time that we're going through this current fuel situation?
Well, whatever has to be done should be done to get Nigeria back to normal when it comes to petroleum product supply. Whether it's from IPMAN or NFPCRA or from NFPCL or whatever agency parastatal that is involved in getting us back to normal, they should just do what they have to do. I think Nigerians are tired with Sandra, and I'm also tired with get all of this back and forth in the shop after the number. All they want to see is that, look, they wake up in the morning, they want to go out there for them, completely needless, especially for agency parastatals and individuals, personnel who get humongous salaries and allowance for doing this simple job. I'm telling you, what's there in processing and all of the oil sector, and that is important for us to be. It's completely confused. It's a web of confusion, needless confusion, tiring bureaucracy. And all of it, if you understand what I'm saying. So, what's the story about it? Nigerians say want well. Nigerians, it's a different case if you are not an oil producing nation. In fact, some of them are even sure that
to interest you with something an oil producing nation, Nigeria
for taking that position. Look, they import CMS into the country. The structure where the wrong standard. The United States has more than 130 functional refineries. More than 130. Only functional. We can even run one. We struggle to build one by through all of the support for a private investor. As at this week we're still talking about the fact that they have not gotten it, but I know they are one of the most proponents of that one. Are we still in April or some few days after April, a few hours after April?
It's post-April. This is post-April, so it's kind of more or less still April. But anyways, people are concerned. Nigerians are worried because the queues are not really easy enough in different parts of the state. Aside from Lagos, even extending to Ogun State, Abeokuta, or your state, Ibadan. So what we have now is Nigerians are worried that the fuel crisis might degenerate into loss of sources of income, where you have the e-hailing drivers who have to spend long hours at the fueling stations trying to get. You have the yellow buses as well, the public buses as well, who have to also queue up for hours to get their fuel. And then you also have people who are trying to get to work now, who also now have to wait for a long time before they can actually get a bus to get to work. So I mean, it's just what it is. Very unfortunate situation. Yes, I'm frustrated.
I know what I'm saying.
If I might add as well.
Even as a risk, some of the risks are taken over by people who are trying to buy fuel. Just traffic in different parts of Lagos now. So that's where you struggle to buy. Transportation is not efficient because of scarcity. So they spend hours, you have to pay more for transport. That look. Now that they are telling us that there's going to be this, that they are not even talking about panic buying now. They have agreed that they are going to repeat it again. Can they just always help Nigerians like? You think it will not happen again? So they can help us. They can help us. They will just tell us, after 15 days, maybe by middle of August, another one is coming in. So Nigerians can prepare ahead. Nigerians can prepare ahead. It's not since we have started at the nation that look, it's a recurring decimal, it's a ritual. It's almost like a festival. It always happens. Look at people beating themselves up with kegs. People punching themselves, people fighting. Yesterday somebody is reported to have been killed because they just want to buy fuel. If there was no scarcity, why would the policeman come there trying to hustle for fuel with his gun and then the fight will come and then somebody has died now? As a result, and people are still talking stories about license. Nigerians don't want to hear the story of license. They just want fuel. And they deserve to have the fuel as an oil producing nation. God gave it to us now.
Well, thank you very much, Said Fuad. That is the unfortunate, situation that we have found ourselves in this country at this time, and we are still talking about palliative preparations as regards, making fuel available. Some
okay. So there's fuel palliative.
I'm just saying, just 15.
You want palliative fuel?
To make just so that people can.
You want? Is that what you want?
Why are you doing this? All right, but let's move on to the next story. Still on trends in the paper. On the front page of the Punch now, I also have here this interesting story that I had been looking forward to having a conversation as on under bridge apartments. Ejected tenants may face prosecution. Stories on pages 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper. So, arrested occupants of the 86-roomed under-bridge apartment of Dolphin Estate. Look at that, Fuad. So people just say, yes, I stay at Ikoyi.
That's an estate, a mini estate.
It's a mini Dolphin Estate.
Dolphin extension.
Dolphin extension, under-bridge in Ikoyi.
It's a mini estate, that's how it is big. Do you know how many households that would have?
Well, where tenants are allegedly paying about 250,000 naira to live under the bridge in an annual rent, and the self-acclaimed landlords.
I wanted. It would be nice to start with that person.
Who are said to have been collecting rent from them will soon be prosecuted by the Lagos State government. So the spokesperson for the Lagos State Ministry of Environment and Water Resources, Kunle Adesina, disclosed this following a visit to that particular area. Reports of the arrest of the occupants. And this is a huge shock for looking number one. The first thing we need to look at is the fact that these people are living under the bridge. That's one. Two, these people are paying rent to somebody. Three, these people are paying 250,000 naira to pay that the square feet. I don't think it is up. I don't know. I'm trying to.
Sandra, do you know that location? That's Ikoyi. What are you saying?
It's Ikoyi. That's why it's 250,000 naira to live under the bridge?
Don't think it's Ikoyi. Wait, before you talk about that, before you talk about the location, where is that place located? That's eyebrow Ikoyi now. You don't understand?
Right. Okay. All right. I'm with you. So it's the environment now.
Location comes to pricing when it comes to real estate. Or you think it's not real estate? It's what?
I'm not going to say anything I'm not even going to say.
I said it's a mini
this is more it's more like it's more like a shanty, Fuad. And
I agree with a shanty.
I would like to ask, what do they have access to electricity? Is there water there?
Sandra, I'm sure that the Lagos State government said they are shocked after that discovery. Severally referred to that Dolphin Ikoyi bridge. There's a DSTV dish there in the open. In fact, I said it's not new. That place is not new. I'm sure that people are saying they are surprised. In those days, at the time I've walked around that area, I started precisely inside Dolphin, and there's that DSTV dish in the open glare. You will see. And I used to ask myself, are there people using DSTV dish in the middle of the bridge? Because it's just from you have to make it open. You can't keep it under the bridge. So they bring it out carefully. And sometimes you see people, I've seen a man brushing his teeth just by the bridge. And so things are happening under that bridge. In fact, for the Lagos State government to have said that they are just discovering and they are stopped, it tells you the state of security in the state. If that kind of place can exist it's not a new place, but that's what I'm telling you. It's not a new thing. It's in there. And there are three sides to what you are doing.
By 10. Container.
You want to measure it. It's just like a room now. The normal. That you might not do. You are one of privileged Nigerians who will not understand this thing. You understand? Yes, now. Have you seen you facing and facing before? Facing and slapping?
Well, during NYSC, yes.
NYSC, that was just. We are talking about real. Okay, don't worry. We'll take you to some downtown part of Lagos. You understand what we're saying?
All right, but what this arrest, this imminent arrest on them now, is it really their fault? Can we label them as should we label them as victims or as accomplices to this?
I think they need help, Sandra. Actually, instead of this prosecution, this whole bravado, they need help. Look, let me tell you something, Sandra. Who would prefer to stay under a bridge? Have you seen anybody that would ordinarily prefer to live under a bridge? What we have seen with that particular story, and several stories of people, I was having a discussion yesterday with a number of persons, and to a great extent from some of the data we have, don't be surprised about 40% of the people you see in the streets of Lagos don't really have anywhere to stay at night. They stay in the open air. Those people riding Okada, those outside boys, all the people, those boys selling in the streets. Is anybody asking the question, where do they retire to at night? You understand what I'm saying? Look at that trend of Dolphin down to Osborne, down to Palomar. When there's traffic, you see a lot of boys who just come out, selling all those street hawkers. Do you think they are residents in Ikoyi? But they are staying around. They are all in those countries. Go and find out.
Yeah, but 250,000 naira.
Let me tell you how it probably would happen. You say 250,000, but don't be surprised that in that 10 by 10, there could be up to 7 persons contributing to stay in that room. You understand? So it may not be just one person. If you see one of them who probably has a wife and child there, who takes a room to himself, it's probably one of the bigger guys who have recruited other boys working for him. You understand what I'm saying? So, one, the fact that look, there's excruciating poverty in the land. That is what would push any human being to go and stay in that kind of condition. And they will procreate, they will continue to do all manner of things because they are held down by their own reality. People are going to say money is something. But that's the story of the average vulnerable Nigerian at this time who have been further pushed into poverty because of the things they are facing. And then there's also the housing shortage. Is anybody critically, Sandra, critically, efficiently and intently addressing the housing problem of the country? Lagos is over 20 million people according to data and statistics. What is being done consciously by government to also address the housing problem of the country? And then the poverty in the land, the insecurity in the land. People are now more vulnerable and desperate. I would have thought that the person we should be talking to is the landlord himself, the so-called landlord.
No, Fad.
Maybe got a fear of
Fad.
For that thing.
Fad. It's
yes.
Landlords.
It's not one person.
It's not one person.
Everything know that.
All the landlords. All the landlords.
Do you know that even pedestrian bridges, there are reports that at night, they are actually sleeping places for people. At night. Look for the pedestrian bridges. You understand? You know, it used to be market before I think Lagos government came up with the rule that all markets should be locked and people should not be allowed to sleep inside market. There's open places. Don't be surprised all those patel, you know what they call the patel. That's the bed for some people when we all retire to our different apartments.
Well,
with our families.
250,000 naira times 86 people.
Guys, you need to tell us, hey,
that's about 21 million.
Yes.
Every year. Well,
that's why I said the guy is a big landlord.
Under the bridge. That's interesting. Well, whether or not this is actually something that the government should look into, as looking at these people as victims or as accomplices, is something that we should also look at. The government is looking at it that these people created illegal settlement under the bridge, thereby exposing critical infrastructure to impending destruction, and that the law should take its course. But then you should also look at.
I know what I'm saying.
Okay.
You see, they will speak all these things now. Critical infrastructure. In fact, the manner by which some of the officials were even addressing these people, I felt sorry. Because these are the lowest of the lowest we've been talking about. You say the 250 would have come from all manner of things. You understand? Some of them are maybe security operatives who cannot stay in far-flung areas of Lagos. You need to stay in that central area. How much is their salary? By the time they ask transportation and all of that, people will say, oh, why must you stay in Lagos and all of that? The reality is that people will have to still do these things because of the fact that we are not addressing critical issues in our natural life. Poverty, housing, security, a lot of things account for what we have discovered. Like I said, I'm surprised that the government is saying that just doing it. It's been there for years.
Well, as it is now, apparently the persons, the landlords or the self-acclaimed landlords, actually, they were using public street lights to supply power to the area. So they're going to. There's a lot. There's a lot.
Are you telling me that power officials who go around that area don't know that thing is happening? Let's start with that. That I'm telling you, a co-electricity. Those guys in charge of Jᴏɪṛ and oil will say that they are not aware that somebody has passed light and has supplied that area. Are you? Let's be honest here. Is that Is that it? People know that thing exists now. Also, you know, they will for free. I'm sure it's for free, or maybe they're even paying some guys, because don't be surprised that the electric worker people will do. I mean, they just come, they roger them and they go their own way. It's impossible.
Thank you very much, Fuad. Moving on from that story, you can get more details on pages 4 and 5. Still on the front page of The Punch, we also have here, police allay fears as IPOB declares May 30th. Sit at home. In honor of Biafran, in all the southeast states, in honor of Biafran soldiers.
Which Biafran soldiers? Well, the thing about all of
from the past till now and in the future, everyone.
Well, people have a right to, as long as they remain peaceful with this way.
Okay.
As long as they don't force people to sit at home, because these kinds of orders, there are people who want to go out on that day. They want to just live their normal life on that day. They want to go about their normal business. So if whoever is declaring that sit at home will get people to obey voluntarily, it's not a problem. If people have the right to take some rest. Even this world situation requires that sometimes you just rest. But it should not be on the basis of now forcing people, harassing people.
You know,
understand that we are seeing
Let's also look at it from this angle. Is it so difficult for IPOB to approach Southeast governors and say, oh, we would like, what do you think? Propose to them that, let's honor these people, let's honor them, let's give them some sort of reverence. What do you think?
The Biafran agitation, according to the new Biafran property, does not even recognize the Nigerian state. So the governors, according to them, are non-existent. You understand what I'm saying? So they can't even have a sit down with them. The agitation basically is that, look, the Nigerian state, what they call the Biafran state, is non-existent. You understand? They see the police, the army as enemies of their own illusions, created illusions, if you permit me to use that word. So, but I'm saying that, look, the issue of self-determination has been clear standard. I talked about the Yᴏᴜᴛ agitation recently, that people have a right to agitate. People have a right to determine, to request for self-determination, but you can't pick up arms against the state. In Spain up to today, the Catalonians are still demanding, you understand, for independence. As long as they do it within the ambit of the law, but not to now begin to. So if they say things are going to happen on that day, fine, yes. But there are people who believe in what they are doing. They can respect it by quietly sitting at home and not disturbing other people who prefer to go out on that day to change their livelihood.
All right.
That's it for me. Really.
Well, the Anambra State Police Command has said it to protect residents, saying that
try to come out on that day, which is the right thing to do.
The police are committed to making sure the residents are protected wherever they are, and as they go about their normal businesses, they should be rest assured that they will have adequate security. And due to the fact that I will be saying everyone must stay at home, even if you're going to do anything or you're going to travel, do it before the evening of May 29. That's what we have here. Well, there's a lot to unpack from that one as well. We can get more details of that on page 20 of the Punch newspaper. 8 minutes past 8. You're listening to Trends in the Papers on Mainland 98.3 FM, and we are looking through the headlines on the front page of the Punch newspaper. Moving on, we also have here just above the masthead of the Punch, 615,000 naira pay. Governors demand sustainable minimum wage. This is something I think that we have always said the governors really concerned as regards whether or not they can actually move with the proposal of the labor union. So the Nigeria Governors Forum on Thursday emphasized the need for the government and organized labor to come up with a sustainable minimum wage in the ongoing negotiations. So the NGF is advising the tripartite committee that was put together by the president sometime in January for minimum wage negotiations, saying, and I quote, "The forum celebrates with workers while we acknowledge various initiatives adopted of recent by way of wage awards and partial wage adjustments. It is imperative to state that the 37-member tripartite committee is still in consultation and yet to conclude its work. As members of the committee, we are reviewing our individual fiscal space, our state government, and the consequential impact of various recommendations to arrive at an improved minimum wage we can pay sustainably. We remain committed to the process and promised that better wages will be the invariable outcome of the ongoing negotiations. But, antecedents and all of that, what do you think? Do you think we can actually trust this committee to come up with something?
Let us even leave the tripartite committee.
Okay,
now.
The governors?
Some of the governors are already announcing their own minimum wage.
Yes.
While we are talking about tripartite committee,
yes.
Yesterday, the governor of Cross River State announced 40,000.
Yes.
The governor of Edo State announced 70,000. So, you don't understand what I'm saying. That's why this whole minimum wage negotiation is very confusing with complete. Because, again, one would have thought that everybody just, because, again, some of these governors are also represented in tripartite committee. So, why are they jumping the gun? We need to ask ourselves. For example, in Edo, people have said that the reason why that one will be announced anyway is because of election politics coming. So, you need to get the workers on the side. Although it has been said that look, he's one of the governors who had even paid a little higher than the 30,000 minimum, he's been doing 40,000. But people have said that look, while this tripartite committee was still sick and have not yet come up with a recommendation, why can't the governor just calm down? Look, the workers in Cross River State now have expressed disappointment at that 40,000 announcement. They said they were expecting something around 60,000, 70,000. Why the labor unions in Cross River are saying they are open for something 70,000? Their own national body is talking about 600,000, 500,000. That's not realistic. It's not even sustainable. It's not even possible. And that's why people think that look, this negotiation should be approached more methodically with some level of seriousness that should come with it. All of these 600 and something thousand that Yajero and the other man has, I think it's making people begin to wonder if they are really serious about this negotiation. And then what is going to come out of the tripartite committee, nobody knows. We're not even sure that the committee is on top of the situation really. Now that the governors are jumping the gun and making statements, and then you have this back and forth between Labour and even the federal government.
All right, more details of that on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Very quickly now, I also have here, government borrows 11 trillion naira via bonds and treasury bills in 4 months. That's on page 21. Also just above the masthead here, EFCC to move against schools charging in dollars. And that's on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. And
what will they do to shut them down?
It's all right.
Are you not surprised that there are people who are still paying school fees in dollars in Nigeria?
No, I'm not.
Okay, you know.
There have been schools from time I remember. Forward, once upon a time when I don't know if you remember this Alhaji Atiku Abubakar University when it was newly established. Then it wasn't dollars. I don't know if they're still doing that now.
But they have been called by the CBN and all the relevant institutions and all of that to stop, even for landlords to collect rent in every part of Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, who are in the habit of demanding for dollars. I thought that
has been the law that in Nigeria in dollars. I don't
get it. People do it. People do it. They even quote it in dollars. But I thought that all that has stopped for in recent time. If you go to Ikoyi those days, that's about 15, 20 years ago.
Okay.
Even most of the that's the unseen part of our society. When we live in a different luxury standard, in a different luxury, if we go back to our family, in the cocoon of our pets, and we enjoy, pay TV, eat good food, there are people's realities what we have discovered under that standard. People will think that it's a choice. It can't be a reasonable choice for anybody. It cannot just be a reasonable choice for them.
Well, thank you very much for that's all we can take from the Punch newspaper. 14 minutes past 8. It is to mainland 98.3 FM, and you're listening to Trends in the Papers. We are looking through the major headlines on the front pages of our papers. Moving on now to the Guardian newspaper. The major headline there: Nigerian in parentheses, Professional Football League. How dodgy officiating, complicit club officials and supporters ruin
young and people that will do it. Young with that one of
right. Well, just
our officiating standard.
Officiating in this our country.
Oh no.
Well,
our local
I don't think I will be surprised with that one. If Well, so well, it says in this report, like many aspects of Nigeria's national life. Look at that.
You see the problem. You see the problem.
Corrupt practices are burrowing deep in the sports sector, where some referees are willing tools in the hands of compromised club officials and supporters. The craze to win at all costs has lowered the integrity quotient of the country's football league, necessitating a thorough cleansing of the system, which could be done via diverse means, including deployment of technology, comprehensive training for referees, focusing on rules and practical match situations, severe sanctions, including straight red cards for erring officials, improved condition of service, as well as educating supporters on new rules governing the sport. Those are the recommendations.
In our local league, if you ask the younger uncle, they'll tell you, for you to go away as an away team, go and win somewhere else, you will try.
You need to pack everybody from your environment, pack all your villagers and all that.
If you guys pack all your villagers, you will be working against not only the whole fans. You will also be working against the officiating referee. Last minute penalty will come out. How years you get a draw? When you get it, look in Nigeria, when an away team gets a draw, they celebrate. You get a win. That one is a miracle.
Well, take
and that's why nobody.
Okay, carry on.
That's why the corporate world, the organized private sector, have distanced themselves from real sporting activity at the local level in Nigeria, because they can't be part of that scenario. They don't put money into it. They'll be surprised that our local league don't even have sponsors, because the organized private sector has some level of decency, and we won't be a part of that hypocrisy we have been saying. That's why sometimes the league will start to not start calling no sponsor, and that's supposed to be an opportunity for the youth really to try to know how big the sporting world is. There's this trending video of a boxing match in Ghana, like Ghana, like Nigeria, and Africa generally, where a Nigerian boxer knocked out a Ghanaian boxer, and they said it's a technical draw. You know what? You beat somebody that is best completely. They were even struggling to revive the other guy, and when the referee was to announce, they say it's a technical draw. And just in the foul, they say draw. Draw what? That's just it. So nobody going to take this. I'm not. This is for just I like it, like you said, like in other parts, other aspects of our life,
of national life.
Some of the referee, how much are they even paying them?
Well, speaking of referee, I have a quote here from the report. To get the best out of the referee, he should be helped to do his job well. Club officials have a big role to play in getting the best out of the referees by educating their supporters on the rules of the game. Unfortunately,
sometimes they beat them up or harass them. That's another thing. Who fans?
Unfortunately, most of the attacks on referees are orchestrated by club officials who want to win at all costs. Some officials want to win all their home games, even when they have poor teams. So when things are not going their way, they incite the fans to attack the referee.
So we are not even protecting the referees enough. That's another part of it.
Angle to it.
They harass them, they threaten them. If you've gone to what local match in Sandra, you see the kinds of supporters that come. All their eyes red. They don't take command of things, and they are telling you that they don't want to finish the match. We need you outside. Sometimes you even see that deliberately the security officials at the stadium look away when they begin to harass and beat up referees. So why would the organized private sector be a part of that nonsense? Well, we're not serious. Like every other thing, they have not really been committed to even doing anything. Let's look at our sporting sector, nothing. And we expect miracle to happen every time we play with people that are serious. We are just giving ourselves.
Thank you very much, Said Fuad. Moving on, still on the front page of The Guardian, very quickly now, we also have here Labour defends 615,000 naira wage proposal as states review fiscal policy. That is on page 6 of The Guardian newspaper. So we have riders here. NLC, any figure below 615,000 naira is starvation wage. That's what NLC is saying. While TUC, on the other hand, is saying 615,000 minimum wage proposal negotiable. So the Nigeria Labour Congress yesterday defended its proposal, insisting that organized labor took into consideration all necessary indices before arriving at the 615,000 as the new minimum wage. It further said Any
Good
figure,
luck. Yes.
any figure below this amount will become what he described as a starvation wage, quote unquote.
We have different types of wages now. We have the living wage, we have the minimum wage, we have the sustainable wage. Now there's the starvation wage.
That's 4.
At least one will happen at the end of the day. Or one is already happening, another one will happen.
Right. Well, the explanation was contained in a statement titled 2024 National Minimum Wage Negotiation, How We Arrived at 615,000, which was signed by the NLC president. And in the statement, the NLC submitted that the new hike in electricity tariff was not captured in the proposed sum, as well as the recent scarcity of petrol across the nation, which is leading to appearance of long queues with attendant increased transport fares. So a breakdown and summary of the cost of living estimates show that it was essentially an outcome of independent research conducted by NLC and TUC on the cost of meeting the primary needs of an average family across the country. So Ajaero said the Congress's research was based on a family with both parents alive and 4 children without the burden of having other dependents with them. So that's what they're working with.
Are they discussing of this at the tripartite committee? That's my interest in it. Because every time they keep coming to the press, I think that all of these conversations should still be major discussions at the tripartite committee. So if they are not able to get into any real resolution, then we cannot have it. Because again, I think the tripartite committee was just set up for the sake of forfeiting or for because I'm not sure anything is happening at that level. People are just doing what they want to do.
All right. Well, in a breakdown that I have here, Fuad, housing and accommodation was pegged at 40,000 naira. Electricity and power was pegged at 20,000 naira. Utility, water, pegged at 10,000. Kerosene and gas pegged at 35,000. Food pegged at 9,000 naira for 30 days, and that's 9,000 times 30, that's 270,000 naira. Transportation pegged at 110 naira. Medicals pegged at 50,000. Clothing pegged at 20,000. Education pegged at 50,000, and sanitation pegged at 10,000. So that's how they did their breakdown, given a monthly breakdown. That's how Ajaero
for the lowest, yeah.
All right, and so
do you buy clothes every month?
Every month, that's another thing. Do you have medicals every month? That's another thing. No. And is education really realistic at 50,000? But
every month,
I don't know about that, but that's how that's.
I don't know. Really, we should take that calculation to the side. They are tired. Yeah, I'm tired. Okay. Whatever they do, good luck to them.
Well, details.
Look at this, just get more tired.
Details on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. I also have here, apparently people are losing billions of naira to fraudsters, and in 2023 17.67 billion naira was lost to fraudsters in 2023. The story is on page 3. Fraudsters,
cybercrime,
all of the above, everything, just all packed together. The story is on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. Now, finally, off the front page of the Guardian, I also have here just a quick one. The Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation (NDIC) has raised the maximum deposit insurance cover for deposit money banks to 5 million naira. It used to be 500,000. So basically, it means that now, especially for the high net worth individuals, the HNIs. So if anything happens to the bank, you can get at least this amount of money back from your money. So before, like Fuad has like 100 million in his account.
Now we have 500,000.
And you get 500,000.
No. I actually think that we've got into an era where extremely difficult to have banks go under. With AMCON, with the NDIC, with all of these
capitalization
and all of those things.
Okay.
It's almost extremely difficult to get. So what that will happen is that the bank would merge with another one, or it's acquired by a bigger bank. You understand what I'm saying? So I think a great example of the structuring that we've done in the banking sector, now makes it almost difficult for us to have what happened in the early 90s or mid 90s, where banks were just collapsing and people were losing their money. I think it's almost extremely difficult for that to happen again. Really.
All right. Well, that the increase, which takes immediate effect, the corporation said, will provide full coverage of 98% of the total depositors compared with the current 89.2%. It's a laudable one if you dig deeper into that. But the story is on page 19 of the Guardian newspaper. Also, that's what we're taking from the Guardian. Well, still on trends in the papers on mainland 98.3 FM. We're moving on now to Vanguard newspaper. We have just a few minutes left, and the major headline on the front page of Vanguard is on minimum wage. Governors working on what is payable. That's coming from NGF. So that's
another word, payable wage.
Payable wage.
So add that one, 5.
Oh, that's 5 now. All right, so the riders to that headline says 37-member tripartite committee still consulting, assures of looking into remuneration of state judicial officers, infrastructure of courts, Labour justifies 615 wage award, gives breakdown, counters government on May 1st commencement date for new minimum wage. So that is on page 5 of Vanguard newspaper. I think we can expect more of this back and forth from governors, from the from Labour, from tripartite committee. And I don't know, Fuad, should we be concerned our private sector is silent?
They're just there now. They know you have representation there, the organized private sector. In all of this back and forth, what's even their own position?
That's what I'm saying. So we're not really getting.
Now the question is tripartite committee, whether we have different committees that we just set it up to fulfill our righteousness, get people talking, make the headlines, but in reality it's just a committee for committee sake. So truly, what is the position of the organized private sector? Are they also agreeing to the 615? Because one thing about minimum wage is standard. Whether organized private sector or public sector, it is expected that whatever is agreed to as minimum wage runs across. You don't expect to be paid as a worker, whether you are a security man or anything, below that threshold. So what is the position? Have you heard of the position of the organized private sector in all of these conversations? That's why I'm still questioning the efficiency of the tripartite committee, to resolve this issue of minimum wage. Now that everybody is just saying, the governors are saying their own, the Labour is saying their own, but the organized private sector is quiet, like you have said. They're not saying anything. Are these those ones representing us at the tripartite committee? We belong to the organized private sector.
All right. Well, thank you very much. We can get more details of that. I mean, we discussed extensively on this from previous papers, but more details for Vanguard's report on page 5. Moving on now, we also have here Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway. Okay, I'm going to be very careful because Gege Joshua is probably holding a knife right now.
Somebody that said that you tell Abuja to go and do truth. You see three prophets. See wala. Even if they said yes, it's not do the road for you. The man is desperate for that road.
Lagos Coastal Highway, federal government allegation divisive and distracting, says Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general elections, has described allegation of inciting the Southeast against the federal government over the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway project as divisive and distraction. So he made the remarks while he was reacting to comments by the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, and the presidency over the constant criticism of this. So insisting that the coastal road project was a misplacement of priority. It said, as Peter Obi said, Umahi's allegation that he was inciting the people against government was divisive and designed to distract from the main issue. All right, I don't know.
I agree with Peter Obi completely. Yes, nobody is fighting anybody. On this platform, several standard, we have passed opposition leaders that they have not been doing their job. And part of their job is to keep the ruling government on their toes, to ask critical questions when it comes to probity, accountability, and transparency, when it comes to the use of public funds. And that's the brilliant thing we've seen from Mr. Peter. If we are talking about inciting people on the basis of ethnicity, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar started this question, remember, Sandra, is he also inciting people? And look at what happened at the so-called briefing recently, when the minister was asked a very simple question, Sandra, very simple question. That look, the environmental impact assessment of this road, is it available? You see what he was trying to do? He said he doesn't understand English, that they should get him an interpreter, trying to deflect on the issue, distract. And I don't think we need to celebrate ourselves.
Yes.
We celebrate that Arise News
journalist, Lila.
For keeping a calm and staying on point and not being lawful. Because the idea was to get her distracted and ruffle the journalist. But she did her job. And did you see that the man did not even answer the question? Why did not answer the question?
From the beginning of, from the announcement of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, the body language, or how the presidency generally has been handling the criticism, the questions, the request for clarifications on this.
You know that there's a problem
has just been So the secrecy, I don't know what.
The originates that come to see.
What is going on? Why can't you just answer questions? These things are simple.
And you're about to say what the woman did to that young girl before you're about to Tagidi Bata. You know what they say when you Tagidi Bata? You don't know? No, I do not. But that's all we can take this morning on trends in the papers. Those are the major headlines. But before we go, today is World Press Freedom Day. And of course, we understand that press freedom is crucial to democracy and good governance. So we celebrate all pressmen out there, all journalists, including myself, Fuhad Said, and everyone at risking their life, risking it all.
Exactly, and risking their sanity as well. Having conversations on this, our national life every day. Well, we celebrate ourselves, but thank you very much, Fuad. We'll take a very short break now. When we come back by 8:40, we carry on with Mainland Focus with our focal point of the day. This is Mainland 98.3 FM. Please stay tuned.
Have a way of taking us on a journey, and when you add plenty of vegetables like ⴅ, ugu, and season with the rich taste of North seasoning cubes, even better.
So go ahead and elevate your meals with more vegetables and the rich taste of Knorr cubes. Today, eat for good.
Build a hard water shield cement and confirm.
Hey, Oga, we don ready to start the foundation.
Say everything done set?
Yes, sir. Wetin remain now na to buy granite, sand, iron rods, concrete blocks, cement and...
Engineer, wait. Which kind cement una wan use? Tell me.
Na the normal cement, sir.
Sure? Una wan use normal cement for site wey water low?